Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Fruitvale Station, starring Michael B. Jordan and Octavia Spencer, directed by Ryan Coogler. Now, welcome back, Ryan Coogler, and I'm doing your filmography of this and your upcoming film Sinners. Although, to be fair, I will be watching these movies in spirit. The first Creed that he directed and the two Black Panther films he did. I've already reviewed them. No reason for me to do them again. So, And before I get into this review, I have seen this movie before. I was heartbroken, but let's see if that still remains the case. Let's get into the movie. We open with the actual footage of the night of December 31st, 2008, as this is based on a true story of an African American man and his friends getting harassed by the bar police in the Bay Area. And we move on to the night before with the man named Oscar Grant, the main protagonist of the movie, played in a powerful performance by Michael B. Jordan, as he and his girlfriend Sophina have an argument about how he fucked another woman until their child Tatiana comes in to sleep with them because she couldn't sleep as the morning of New Year's Eve arrives. And Oscar brings Tatiana to daycare while bringing Sophina to work, and their chemistry reminds me of a couple of of any couple going through a rough time, as it works as real life. While Oscar drives, he calls his mother Wanda, played by Octavia Spencer, Oscar winner, I'll say, as he forgets to wear a headset, as it's Wanda's birthday, and their mother and his mother and their mother and son chemistry was beautiful, as I've always enjoyed Octavia Spencer in any movie in general, while Michael B. Jordan does a terrific job with his performance. While at the grocery store to get some shrimp for his mother's birthday, Oscar helps out a woman named Katie who about what kind of fish to fry, as she's trying to look for that, and asks Grandma, and Oscar calls Grandma Bonnie and asks her over the phone, being called by Oscar. While Oscar was fired from the grocery store for some reason, as he tries to talk with I think his name is Brandon, who's the manager at the grocery store, about getting his job back. While he was going through some shit, while Katie gets the fish she wanted thanks to Grandma Bonnie, and this scene was great. While Oscar gets home and gets a call from his sister Shantae about how she has to work late and can't celebrate Wanda's birthday because of that. And he calls Marcus to arrange a meeting with him about some drug dealing. While on the way there, he gets a birthday card for Wanda, aka his mother, and goes to the gas station and sees a doggy as he pets it for a second until it goes to the street and some fucking maniac runs it over, and Oscar brings it back to the sidewalk while the dog unfortunately dies on the sidewalk. And I felt so bad for the poor doggy, as we don't see it injured by the maniac in the car on screen, but we hear it. But Oscar leaves it there to die. What a fucked up way to leave an animal dying on the sidewalk. And I was so sad for the poor doggy. And to be fair, I am a doggy and a kitty lover, so heads up there. Not coyotes, but I'm mostly an animal lover, if that makes sense. And I love that scene for dramatic purposes. Oscar thinks back in New Year's Eve the year before, where Wanda visits him in prison, as they talk until some bald asshole talks some shit to Oscar and his mother, and Wanda tells Oscar she can't visit him in jail anymore. And he gets all abusive and shit towards her and tries to apologize to her and wants to give her a hug, and the guards force Oscar to the ground. And we go back to the date this movie takes place and we get to the meeting between Oscar and Marcus as they make a drug deal of some kind, and he picks up Sophina from work and Tatiana from daycare as Oscar and Tatiana race to the car. And I'm not usually the biggest fan of shaky cam, but I love how this movie follows real life in good but somehow sad ways. Well, I feel so bad for Oscar for reasons the movie will explain by the end of the day. They get to Sophina's grandmother's house as Oscar and Tatiana play a game with each other, as the grandmother doesn't want to watch Tatiana, while Oscar tells Sophina he lost his job for being late all the damn time, so that explains a lot, as he doesn't say for the last 2 weeks, and she talks some shit towards him, as that's part of the reason why I feel so bad for Oscar. while he tells Sophina about how he dumped a zip of weed out, and they make up as the cinematography is well shot, despite I don't like the shaky cam at times, while Tatiana and the grandmother watch a little Oprah, and we move on to nighttime, and they get to Wanda's house celebrating her birthday with some family members as he signs her birthday card, and they celebrate with eating some dinner. And these scenes are well acted, and kudos to Ryan Coogler, the director, telling the biopic about Oscar Grant before his death in New Year's coming towards 2009. While talking with Oscar, Wanda learns they're going to the city to celebrate the new year, while she's led to believe there will be some alcoholic drinking, and suggests taking the Bart to the city and tells his friends how that is a good idea. And he tells his friends to meet him at the BART station, as Sophina wants to go out for the night while Oscar wants to stay in, but they go out anyways, and they bring Tatiana to Shantae's house with her 6 kids, and he has beautiful chemistry with his daughter as they brush their teeth together and puts her to sleep, and she's frightened of the gunshots despite their fireworks, and wants to bring her to Chuck E. Cheese the next day. And to be fair, it's been a long time since they've been to Chuck E. Cheese, but I remember that place being pretty pleasant for kids until that video game Five Nights at Freddy's fucked it up. And Oscar and Sophina meet up with their friends and get on the BART to the city as they make it, which is a miracle. And I really like and relate with these characters from start to finish. The BART breaks down because of a delay, and they play some music and have a party on the BART until 11:59 p.m. comes, as Oscar uses a man's watch to count down for the new year, and they get to the city, and we get a great shot of fireworks as they walk around the city with fireworks with their friends and stop by a place to let the ladies use the restroom for some money, but the owner of the store doesn't take the money for the New Year's, but lets the women in anyways, as another man named Pete comes by with his pregnant wife to use the restroom. And the man tells Oscar the story about how he proposed to his wife as he steals a wedding ring and has a web design business and gives him his business card, and possibly offers Oscar a job as they get back on the BART in the next scene. And while on the BART, Oscar bumps into not only Katie from the grocery store earlier in the film, but the bald-headed motherfucker from jail coming up to Oscar and starting to fight him. And they run out as they call the BART police as they get to Fruitvale Station, as the BART police gets Oscar and his friends out of the BART or train. And why the fuck didn't they get the bald-headed motherfucker that started the fucking fight in the first place? As that's annoying for the cops in general to stop the wrong people for no good motherfucking reason whatsoever. And it will lead to a sad climax, which I'll talk about in the next segment. The BART police harass Oscar and his friends while the train full of people watch the whole thing as they watch Oscar get shot by the BART police. And if I were one of the officers helping Oscar, I would be like, and after they shoot him, they don't put pressure on him. And if I were one of the officers that shot him, I would be like, put some pressure on it, as these cops can't do shit about a wounded man. And I thought, Jesus Christ, these guys are stupid as a pack of motherfuckers. While Sophina calls Wanda, something must have happened to Oscar, while the friends are coming down, and the ambulance comes for Oscar and puts him under medical care, as Wanda tells Sophina as she sees Oscar has been shot and is taken to Highland Hospital, and tells Wanda that piece of information as she involves all the friends. And I can't believe one of the BART police officers is Kevin Durand, who was in, and I reviewed him before in the things I'm about to bring up, like he was in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and a terrible role, as he had a standout year last year with Abigail and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, as I reviewed him in lots of movies like the ones I brought up, as well as the Ridley Scott Robin Hood film, as he does play an evil guy perfectly. The friends join Wanda, Sophina, and family of Oscar's, and the doctors keep them informed on how Oscar is doing, while Wanda tells everybody to stay positive for Oscar, as the next morning comes and they pray for Oscar, and they learn Oscar is unfortunately dead. As Wanda wants to see him and give him a hug before they bury him or cremate him or something, but the nurses won't let her in, And we end with people protesting for Oscar's life, while the officers of the bar got fired from their jobs and go to prison for manslaughter. And his daughter Tatiana celebrates her father's with the pot, celebrates her father with the protesters. And the climax was so fucking heartbreaking in so many levels that another African American was killed by a white police, or in this case, a BART police officer, shot the poor man to death. But did I cry when I first saw this movie? I'll confess, I did. And how heartbroken was I? Let's get into the rating and find out. I'll give this movie a 8.3 out of 10. The performances by Michael B. Jordan and Octavia Spencer are absolutely tremendous, while I felt so bad for Oscar for this whole movie. Like, Sophina talks shit about him at the beginning, and unfortunately it ends with his death. And this movie is dramatic at times, and I love it for that purposes. And kudos to director Ryan Coogler for telling the biopic about a man who ended up shot dead by the BART police in the Bay Area. And the cinematography is well shot, despite, I don't like the shaky cam, but I really do like this movie a lot. I really like and relate with the characters from start to finish, as Oscar and his daughter have a beautiful chemistry, and his girlfriend at first came off unlikable, like I just said, but she grew on me by the end of the movie, and I can't believe one of the officers was Kevin Durand, who had quite a year last year with Abigail in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, as he pulls off a slimy character quite perfectly, as I'm a fan of his. And I can't believe this is what's going on in America and many, many other places for many, many years, as director Ryan Coogler and star Michael B. Jordan do a terrific job at telling this poor man's life. And this is a solid recommendation for this movie, as it was very heartbreaking. And on my first viewing, I'll admit, I did cry. And ever since this movie, I always wanted to visit Fruitvale Station because of this movie and pay tribute to this man's life. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and when I'll be back in a month, because I have reviewed Creed and the 2 Black Panther films. When I come back in a month from now with Sinners, Oscar Grant, may you rest in peace, sir.